Welcome to Western Super Television this evening and to the Offside programme. We will be finding out about the playing matters of Weston Supermare Football Club. My name is Richard Slaone, and in the studio this evening we have Craig Laird, the manager, and Ben Kirk, the club captain. Welcome to you both. Welcome, Craig.
Thank you, Richard. Always a pleasure to meet you.
And welcome, Ben.
Hi, Rich.
This is your chance to ask questions of Craig and Ben. You can do that through the Western Supermare Facebook, which is www.facebook.com/Western Supermare. Right, good evening, Craig and Ben. I'd like to start asking you the question about what has the season been like so far?
Do you want to answer that, Ben?
Yeah, you go for it.
I'll go first, right. I think we started not as we wanted to. We had a good pre-season. Started slowly, but it's improved as we've gone on, and we're very happy where we are at the moment. A lot better than we were last season, so things are improving all the time.
Okay.
I think we started with the mindset a little bit sort of sloppy. I think we thought games were going to be a bit easier than they turned out to be. But I think as the season's progressed, we've kind of realised that we still need to put a bit of a shift in to get the right results, which we've started to do. And I think if you look back, counting out the first two games, I think we've had a chance to win every other game since then. So yeah, we're definitely moving in the right direction.
Okay, so would you say that the season so far has been better, the start of it, than it was this time last year?
Yes, yeah. Other than the first two games, our position shows that we're in a much better place than we were last season. So we're more than happy where we are. But there's still a lot of work to be done. You know, we're in the infancy of the season. Like I said at the beginning, we weren't going to lose the league or win the league by the first two games. It's a season-long season, and we need to, I said, just keep plugging away, keep picking up points, and we'll be fine.
Okay. For the viewers at home, this is Ben's first season as captain, as club captain. Last season he came new to the side, and I'm now going to ask him how he finds the club captaincy and how different it is to being just a player.
It varies slightly, I guess. You still concentrate as much on your playing as I did before, but I guess you kind of have to try and take a bit more of a leadership role within the club, especially on the pitch. Sort of talking to the ref, I try and do that in the right way, which some of our players tend not to at times, not mention any names, but I'm sure they know who they are. So I don't know, trying to talk to the ref a bit more, trying to get the lads going for games, trying to just be a bit more of a prominent figure, I guess, in the squad and in the team.
So how have you actually been able to sort of assert your authority? You know, when you're one of a team, it's very different, isn't it, to come from that particular line and then, if you like, be in charge of them. I mean, how have you made that transition?
I guess it's always been there. I mean, Craig chose me for a reason, I guess, and I suppose I've always had that kind of in me, but it's kind of just taking it, realising that you are the captain now and sort of just taking it onto a new level. But I don't know, I guess being a little bit more dominant, I try and be a bit more dominant on the pitch. It's still something I can work on. I'm not the most vocal of players, but I'm trying to improve that and trying to become more vocal as the season goes on. And I suppose I'm one of the captains that probably tries to lead by example rather than shouting at people, rather than telling people what to do. I'd probably one of the captains that would probably just have a quiet word with one of the players rather than barking instructions to them. Try and lead by example by what happens on the pitch.
Yeah, okay, and that's very much your style as well, isn't it, Craig?
Yeah. So every manager needs someone who believes in the philosophy of the club and that what you're trying to achieve at the club. Ben has that. He has the respect of his peers, which is massively important for a captain. He's slightly different from Craig Rand. Craig was more up and at him, and you know, he was quite noticeable on the pitch. Ben gets on with his job very quietly, but does a very, very important job for the team. And all the players realise what work he does for the team on the pitch. And it might not be noticed by everybody who's watching the game, but he does a lot of work that's unseen, and the players will appreciate that, and they all respect him. So it's a good appointment.
Fine. For those fans at home, we are looking for your comments to ask our captain and our manager. And I'll start with the first question that we have, and that is from Matthew Pegler. This is of Ben Kirk, our captain. When are you going to chip in with as many goals as Pricey?
This has been an ongoing thing since the start of the season, since Pricey joined Facebook, sorry, not Facebook, Twitter, and it's become even more boring than usual. just giving me loads of stick on Twitter about how many goals he scores and how many assists he gets, and Matt Pegler started chipping in with that as well. But I'd just like to remind Pricey who scored the winning goal in the cup final last year. So,
did you want to say that a bit louder?
Ben only scores important goals.
Yeah, quite.
And very few.
Yeah.
Please do send in your questions. This is your one opportunity this year to hear what the manager and the club captain have to say, and can actually answer your questions. So the more questions we get, the better it is. Okay, we're having a good cup run, and we've also had a good league run. We've got 19 points, and the goal difference is 3. And players are scoring from all positions within the club. You must feel very pleased with that. The fact you've got a team that is multidisciplinary, really. Yeah.
When we joined the club a season or so ago, we said that we would try and play some attractive football. We'd try and score goals. We'd get players in who were honest and want to work hard. Some are more vocal than others, and some get noticed more so than others on the pitch. But all the players, right from the 16, 17 squad that we have, are all doing their part and all working really, really hard in training. And they'll all play their part during the season, whether it's early on in the season or later in the season. They'll all play their part. But we're really pleased where we are at the moment. We have to keep our feet firmly on the ground because we're still early on in this season. But things are going in the right direction. We've improved from last season. We won a cup. We want to try and improve on that this season. So we're going to keep near the playoffs as much as we can. Any manager should be trying to win the league, and that was our first aim, is to try and win the league. And then if we can't do that, can we get in the playoffs? And if we can't do that, can we get near the playoffs? You know, so those are always our targets, and to do well in the cup. So that'll always be our philosophy, and I'm sure the players will all work towards that, and they all agree with that.
Okay. Is there any pressure from the club or anywhere else that you should succeed in what you just said, or is the club fairly relaxed?
I think we've got a great football club here. Weston Supermare have got a really good football club. We've got a good chairman to work with people like yourself and Phil. You know, we've got a good groundsman who works on the pitch and looks after us on that side of it. It is a really good club, and it's probably been sleeping a while, and hopefully we've awoken it as a manager and as players, and we're going to try and drive it forward to maybe get in the conference one day, and that would be fantastic for the area. For the Southwest as well, because I think the Southwest is looked upon by clubs from the other part of the country as a bit of a barren area for football players and for the style of football we play, and we want to prove that wrong.
Well, actually, apart from the league sides that are in the Southwest, Weston Supermare is the premier club within the Southwest, aren't they?
Well, we're doing very well. And Bath is above us, and I'm sure Forest.
I didn't want to mention them. I mentioned Somerset.
We want to be up there with them. You know, Bath have been a great non-league club over the years, and if we can get anywhere near that, we would have done very, very well. Okay. So that's where we're aiming.
Okay. Obviously, the fans, many of whom are watching this evening, have got aspirations for the club, and I'll just go to the next question, which typifies that. That is from Sam Frost, who says, "Are you happy with the cup draw?"
I think you just have to take what draw you get. I don't think you can pick and choose, because if you get a team below you that's potential banana skin, and you can struggle against them, they raise their game, and if you get someone above who has shown some form, then that becomes a difficult game itself. So especially when you get to the fourth round, everyone's trying to do their best to get into the first round qualifying. So we're quite happy that we've got Oxford. No matter who we got, really, we still got to prepare, show them the respect that they deserve, and go out and try and win the game. We'll do our homework on them, and I'm sure they'll be doing the same on us. And it'll be on that one-off game, you know, where you need to try and get the right result. Sometimes the result is more important than the performance, you know. So,
especially in the cup.
Yeah,
I think Saturday showed that in cup matches, there's just 3-2 could have been 5-4. Just there's so many chances in cup games that it can go either way, and just making sure that we turn up next Saturday and put in the same sort of performance that we have done in the last couple of rounds. We can't slack off at all, because Oxford will probably be looking at the draw thinking, this isn't a bad draw. They beat Eastleigh away in the last draw. Yeah. I'm sure that they'll be pretty confident coming into next week. So, you know, it can go either way. We're confident. We're confident that we'll get to the next round. And as far as the draw goes, I think we couldn't have really asked for much more.
No.
We're not going to get many better chances to get to the first round proper. So we've got to we've got to make sure we take that opportunity next Saturday and really put in a good team performance.
Yeah.
We'll be doing our best, that's all we can ask from the players, to do their best, and then hopefully that carries into the next round.
Because all of the success, it generates increased crowds, increased expectations of the fans and so on. Do you, Ben, particularly, do you feel that when you go out on a Saturday afternoon?
Definitely. The crowds this year have been phenomenal. And as a player, I'm sure all the team feel the same way. It's amazing feeling to be, I don't know, second half, maybe you're 1-0 down chasing the game and you've got all the fans behind you. It is massive. It's massive to have that vocal support behind you. Just getting behind the lads, it sort of breeds confidence. If you have an attack and you nearly score, the crowd get behind you, it gets your backs up, and then you sort of press on and you go on even more.
And it does affect the opposition as well, so it's important that and it's great to see old faces there and lots of young new faces as well, which is fantastic for the club. There's a great standard of football being played at the moment, and hopefully everyone's appreciating it. And for us, we can only measure it by the expectations from when we first joined to where we are now. The expectations have gone up, and when we lose, people are really, really disappointed, which is great, I
think the style of football as well is drawing in more people to watch us, and we're scoring goals now as well. I think last year we created a lot of opportunities, but perhaps weren't taking as many as we should have. Whereas this year we're cashing in a little bit, and we're a good team to watch, I think.
Isn't that because partly because you've now got a team spirit, and not only a team spirit, but an understanding amongst the players who know where each other is going to be, and therefore there's the importance of scoring goals, but also the confidence of having a shot at goal, rather than, as you say, perhaps last year hanging back and thinking, should I, shouldn't I, are the crowd going to like it, and so on. Yeah,
I think so. I think if you look at last season, obviously Craig came in, brought a lot of us lads from Bridgewater who were already playing together, so we were a very, very new side last year, so we didn't really know each other. The Bridgewater lads knew each other, but the other lads took a while to gel, whereas now I think you can really see that everyone knows each other. The team spirit's amazing, probably one of the best that I've ever played in, and it's just brilliant. Everyone's fighting for each other, everyone's working for each other. If there's a hard tackle in the game, everyone's behind each other, everyone's right there looking after each other, so it's brilliant.
Thank you. Well,
can I just say something on that, Richard?
Yes, please do. Yeah.
We've deliberately built a squad, that we're going to work with. We haven't made lots of changes to the squad. We've had the old player come in and go, but we've tried to work with the same squad we had last year. I think continuity is really important to do with any business like this. I'm sure Paul, the chairman, would agree with that as well. That if you've got good continuity and people working hard, you get the right people in at the beginning, it makes it so much easier for everybody.
Yeah, absolutely.
So they're a fantastic bunch of boys to work with. They train every week. Not many, we don't have any missing from a Tuesday to a Thursday. Other than if you said they have to work, but I said majority of the time everyone's there.
Yeah.
And that breeds a great. And if you can keep them together all the time, and they all travel on the coach, they all eat together, don't they? After matches, stay till 6 o'clock. So all those things add up to the team spirit that people see on a Saturday afternoon at 3 o'clock.
I think that's a big thing as well. Like Craig just said about even little things like eating together and staying at the club until 6. The fans can see that you're there, and the players as well. It just kind of breeds a bit more team spirit. Whereas sometimes you go to other clubs and we're in their clubhouse and later than they are.
Yeah.
So you think we've got definitely a close knit bunch, and it does help, definitely.
And also as the crowd gets behind the players, we saw that last week with particularly the under 14s and so on. Yeah. So the more crowd we get, guys, the better the play, the more support that the players get, and the more confidence they have. I think we'll now look at some of your questions. It's remiss of me that I wasn't looking at the iPad. I had got some written down. And the first question I'd like to ask the Craig and Ben is...
We do.
You do. Ryan Stabbing said, why don't we play Pricey up front?
God.
His head's big enough at the moment. So to get him up front as well, we wouldn't get him in through the doors of the changing room. So
plays up front enough in training. Yeah.
Ryan Stabbing isn't an alias for Jamie Price, is it?
It could be.
Okay, now we have a question from. Well, it doesn't say who it's from, but it is. And I'll read it to Craig and Ben. Since taking the hot seat at the club, what would Craig say has been the best team performance?
We've had numerous good team performances. I could probably name the worst games on a hand, that we haven't played well. I think we've always competed in most games, but I enjoyed the Yeovil game. when we beat Yeovil in the final. It was a great game because we played and passed the ball really well against a good Yeovil side, and that, for me as a manager, that was really, really pleasing. And to do it in their own backyard as well. I thought last week's game was a really good performance, and the Sutton game where we ground out a 0-0, which is something that the side hasn't done possibly over the last couple of years, have shown another part of the game now that they can go and be ugly and have to work hard and get a result when they need to, and that was important as well, because we know we're a fantastic football side and we can pass it. We need that other side of our game as well to be successful, and I think that we showed that on against Sutton.
Hopefully that'll be the start of picking up a few more points when perhaps we wouldn't have. Like Hampton and Richmond, we shouldn't have lost that game. Eastleigh, we shouldn't have lost that game. So you think the games that have gone so far this season, we could probably have 3 extra points, which would make a massive difference. Yeah. Whereas now, hopefully, that Sutton draw will kick us on, and those away games that are tough, then if we can get a point in them, then it's going to push us up the table even more. And it's massive if you can stay unbeaten as well, rather than having the runs that we've been having where we're winning 2, losing 1, winning 1, losing 1. If we can win 2, draw 1, then go on another winning run, that makes a massive difference. Sure.
I want to just bring a slightly light-hearted touch to this before I go on to other questions that fans have put in this evening. And that is, Ben, do the players have any idiosyncrasies or routines they go through?
If Kane's watching that, you're going to have to explain that.
Yeah.
What, spell it for Kane?
That won't help.
Explain it. I've got big words in the change room and he struggles. So.
Routines before the game. And that's probably the biggest one. For some strange reason, he sits in the shower when Craig's doing his team talk.
He sits in the shower?
God knows why.
In the shower, we won't ask why.
Yeah, he's a strange boy. Any more? Can you think of any more?
Pricey doesn't get changed until he really needs to. Yeah. And that we've had to tell him 4 or 5 times to get ready.
Yeah.
What about yourself? Have you got any superstitions?
Me?
Yeah. Talk as long as you can during the team talks.
Bore the players to death with my team talks. Not really, just wear the same.
Nothing about lucky pants or anything?
Yeah, probably, yeah.
Horrendous pants.
Yeah, really holy now. They've had it for 20 years.
Really?
I should really change them.
Wore some really nice pants to the game last week, didn't you?
I did.
They were horrific.
You're quite happy.
I didn't think anyone noticed.
You're quite happy to talk to us about lucky pants, are you?
Yeah, whatever works for anyone. I don't mind. Yeah, of course you do. You have your own little bits, don't you, that you deal with, like, eh?
Okay.
Can I just say, I don't know whether you're going to ask the question, but I don't know if he is in bed, but if he has to rush off, Ben and I do say that we do love you, Tyler.
Oh, yeah, we love you, Tyler.
Yeah. Okay, another question then from the Facebook, from Mary Fitzgerald. We would like to ask, now that we are so near to a playoff place, is Craig looking to strengthen the squad in any areas in case of injuries or suspensions?
We've got a fit squad at the moment. Everyone's fit and available, so it's going to be really hard for John and myself to pick a side over the next couple of weeks, or not hard. It's just means we're going to have to upset a few players. We have to work within the remits of the budget that's provided. We've got a good budget. We don't want massive disparity between players in wages, so if we can always strengthen the side, we would do, but we're quite happy where we are at the moment and what we've got. We want to work hard with those players, and if we need to, because someone's got a long-term injury, then we would always look outside the club if we can't find it within through the youth system that we've got with Ryan Northmore, who does a fantastic job. So that's how it works, like, you know. So we'll stay within those.
Okay. I'm glad you mentioned that, because the academy that the club have through, as you say, through Ryan Northmore is producing players, some of whom may well get into the squad, others may not achieve Conference South, but go on to Southern League and maybe Tool Station League. How valuable do you see that academy? I
think it's a massive and a part of the club. You know, it's integral to the system and the success of the club over the next couple of years, and hopefully for a long, long time. I think if you can produce your own players and have the courage to play them, you know, then that's important to everybody at the club, because there's been a lot of investment through time, through Ryan and through other coaches, through Weston-super-Mare. But we've just started an under-14s and 15s and 16s, and they may not be getting the results they want at the moment, but I'm sure in time that'll turn, and instead those teams will be successful in their leagues. But Yeah, really, really important that we have youth players coming through, but there's not room for everybody, and they can't just be young to get inside. They have to have talent as well, and Dale Grubb's a great example of that. You know, he's been fantastic this season. He's come in, he's done really, really well. Had a difficult season last year, integrating into what we were trying to do, but since he's had his opportunity, we've been very, very pleased with the way he's performed, and I think all the players really appreciate by all the hard work he's been putting in.
Especially me.
Yeah. Especially Granddad.
Especially me. My old bones. Yeah. I think with the youth team as well, obviously Ryan knows what we're about and we're a passing side. So the results, whilst they are important, everyone wants to win, as long if the youth teams are playing the right kind of football, then if they do make that step up, then they already know what it's about. So they know that we're going to expect them to pass the ball and be comfortable on it. Yeah. I think that's the same with anything, and probably where English football's fallen down is that youth systems are all interested in results, which is why they probably get the ball forward too quickly because they don't want to put it at risk. But if Ryan's coaching the right ways, which I'm sure he is, then the youth teams are going to play some good football, and when they do make that step up, it'll be natural for them.
You know, players have to be patient with the younger players. You know, we've got a lad called Jake Morford at the moment who's a good talent, you know, and hopefully will realise his talent in time. He's out on loan at the moment at another club to gain experience, and hopefully we'll be able to integrate him at some time into the first team. But we've got a very young squad at the moment anyway. You know, I think the average age is between 20 and 23. I think if you take Ben out of it probably goes down to about 19. So we have got a very young squad, so it's going to be difficult for young players to break into that team, because those players may play for the next 10, 15 years. But if they're good enough, I will have no problem playing them like that.
Okay, that's fine. I'll now turn to another couple of questions that you, the fans, have sent in. And the first one is Lewis Morgan. It's a difficult one, this one. How is the club spending the FA Cup prize money?
Sure, that's from Lewis?
Yeah, probably from...
Very wisely. Very wisely. It's been invested back into the club and into the play-in staff, and into trying to improve the conditions for the players, you know, for trips away at Dover and to Eastbourne, where we'll be travelling in the next couple of weeks, to trying to improve nutrition for the players before and after games, and also to look after the playing staff as well, don't you? Yeah. And hopefully if we go further in the Cup, you know, that money will be reinvested in the club itself, like, you know, in the infrastructure to improve the facilities at the club.
That really leads nicely on to the next question, in terms of ploughing money back into the club or reinvest in the club to improve the playing staff, or bring players up from, as Ben said, bring players up from under 18s, under 19s, and hopefully they will mature into first team players. Sam Frost said, who is the most improved player since you took charge? Who is the most improved player since you took charge? That's a difficult one, isn't it?
It is. I think we gave Brett Trowbridge the trophy last year.
Certainly did, yeah.
I felt was one of our more improved players.
Dale's
done fantastic this year. We always knew Dale was a great talent when we first joined the club, but it was just him realising, you know, his talent, and he's certainly done that this year. So probably Dale has done really well. Naby Diablo started really well in the pre-season, had a bit of a shaky start, but is now back on form and playing really, really well. You know, so there's a couple of names for you. So hopefully that's answered the question. But they're the standout players, at the moment for me this season.
I've just been handed a note. I'm not quite sure what this note actually means, but it does say, and the people that this is going to obviously know what it means. Shout out to Frosty and Nat P. Thanks for the comments. Now, I hope you understand that, but I have no idea about that one. But there you go. Okay, please keep on bringing your questions to the panel here this evening. We'd like to hear from you, and it's your opportunity to hear at first hand, in a relaxed environment, well, I think it's relaxed, how the club, and particularly the football side of the club, is faring, and the difficulties and the successes that the team is having. Now I'd like to ask you about last week's FA Cup win. You've touched on it. But in terms of the preparation for that game, because as you say, it was a one-off game, how did that differ to the league preparations?
for me as a manager, I try to make it as normal as possible, and the same as if we were playing for any match. I think if you start to make too many differences, then the players are not used to those changes, and it can affect performance. So we just try and keep it the same as any other match. You know, they just realise there's a bit more importance on it because it's a one-off game. But I think the only thing we did the game before, we went to Dorchester, we stopped for lunch and made sure the players got their dinner before they then walked to the ground from the Dorchester town centre. But generally, we'll try and keep the preparation for the matches the same as any other game.
Right, okay.
Did you know where we were going when we were walking to Dorchester's ground?
I did, yes.
And you were checking on your phone about the
I knew where
Google
we were
Maps.
going.
This is a bit of an internal joke here about geography and Dorchester and so on.
I was ringing Trevor Senior.
I'd like to move on then to, you touched on it earlier, the trip to Dover and the fact that we are staying overnight. I guess that partly answers one of the earlier questions about, you know, how you're spending the cup money. What is so special about staying overnight?
Well, first of all, the players don't go out, pricey. We think it's important to arrive at the game nice and fresh. Now, if we were travelling the early hours of the morning, which I think would be probably a 7:30 start from Weston-super-Mare, that's a long time to be on a coach and travelling to a game and then to try and prepare to win a game of football. I think we stayed last season and it bared great fruits because we beat them 1-0. Now, there's no guarantee that will happen this year, but we've got to try and give ourselves the best opportunity. So we'll travel overnight, we'll feed the players on the way through, we'll stop for tea again, get to the hotel about 10 o'clock, the players will find their rooms and go to bed, and then we're up in the morning for breakfast and have a stroll into the town again and stretch the legs off. So we prepare as best we can, like, and tick all the boxes that will take out the reasons for having a poor performance. But I think cooped up on a coach for 4 or 5 hours would be too much then to go and then put a performance in. So that's the reasons why.
I think you look at the was it Ebbsfleet away last year when we got caught in traffic and we arrived. I think we were 5 hours on the coach or something ridiculous. And you just feel a little bit leggy when you get off the coach. It takes a while to sort of get going in the game, and I think we lost that game 3-1 in the end.
Yeah.
So being fresh at the start of the game is a nice feeling. But last year at Dover, I got left behind in the
yes, I remember that.
Dover Town Centre because I was running a minute late, and the gaffer made the decision to leave me. Which
I think it was somebody else apart from yourself.
It was
Justin Porter. Yeah. So that was
trying to find a
good. I look forward to
shop,
that. I look forward to that this week.
I've got a note here now to say hello to Avin. So could we all say hello, Avin?
Hello, Avin.
Watching the programme. I hope you're enjoying it.
Yeah.
Okay. So we're also staying at Eastbourne overnight. That's a recent decision that's made. Is that for the same reasons?
Yeah, exactly the same reasons that we want to try and prepare properly for the game, and we'll always give ourselves the best opportunity we can. Now, hopefully that will bear fruit, but it may not. But we'll always try and give ourselves the best opportunity, so we can, always tick the boxes that we can affect. There's going to be certain things we can't affect, like the referee and what the opposition do, but we can always tick all our boxes and say we prepared properly, we've trained properly, we've done our homework on the opposition. That the players are all up and ready for the game, and if we can do that, we'll win more games than we'll lose. So that's how we go about the matches on a Saturday.
I was going to ask you, Ben, about referees. When we were talking about your role as the captain, one thing I didn't ask, and I meant to, was how do you approach that situation? Because normally, if a player has been spoken to by a referee, it's quite
Price
fraught.
have done it already.
Quite fraught, isn't it?
Yeah.
So how do you manage to calm the situation?
I'm quite a relaxed, calm person, to be honest. I don't really... It takes quite a lot to get me angry, to be honest. So I usually approach the referee as I would normally speak to anyone, to be honest. I just try and speak to them rather than shouting and hollering at them. I just don't think that helps. And you always try and get the ref on side or be nice to them. And I think as soon as you start shouting at them, it's not doing anyone any favours. They're just going to get their backs up, if anything, and it's not going to help you. So I don't know, you just try and manage the situation as best you can, and try and manage the more aggressive players in our team as best I can. I try and talk to the ref rather than let other people shout at them. And if there's something kicks off when one of our players does become a little bit aggressive or angry about a decision, then it's just a case of saying, look, calm down, I'll deal with it. The decision's been made, so it's not going to change, and then you just try and get on with it and ready for the next decision.
My demeanour on the sideline, I think, is quite laid back. I don't want people to think that I'm horizontal, but I try not to affect the players by being stressed out and shouting and screaming, because I think that affects the players on the pitch. So if we go goal up, I don't try and change my demeanour too much, and if we go goal down, I don't. I try to keep the same, so the players stay relaxed and keep trying to carry out their performances and the jobs they've been asked to do. I am passionate about the game, but as Ben said, you can't change the referee's decisions. They're made. The referee's not the one sticking the ball in the back of the net. You still have to defend those situations that he may have put you in. But we've had some good referees and we've had some average referees, if I can say it diplomatically. But we have to get on with it. We just have to get on with it and try and take them out of the equation. And that's what we've always tried to say earlier, is we'll always try and affect everything we can. Right. And they've said if the referee makes a decision, that there is nothing we can do about it, but hopefully it won't affect our performance too much and it won't affect the end result.
I think the fans at home should know that after a game, the club is required to score or mark the referees, and this we do collectively, but it's always done positively. Or if it's critical, then it's a positive critical to ensure that their development takes place over time. OK, can I then turn to tomorrow's game? Eastbourne Borough up. What special techniques have you employed to try and get one over the Eastbourne Borough opposition, who have come down recently from the Premier Division? Yeah,
we're going to try and play with 13 men, first of all. So hopefully the referee won't see us sneaking on another player. Same thing again. We've trained hard this week. We'll work on our set pieces, so we'll talk about them during the team talk. We'll have to pick the team first of all, which that usually is left to myself and John, which we'll hopefully pick the right team that will win the game. But we have to have in mind that we've got Woking as well on Monday, so we'll try to have a balanced squad where we can put two fresh teams out for both games, so that'll be in the back of our minds as well. But they'll be a good side. They're well organised, like all the teams in this division, and we just need to keep doing what we do well. We try to play to the best of our ability, and hopefully that'll be good enough on the day. We do look at the opposition and what they do and don't do, but we try and always say, if we play well, then they have to cope with us and what we do. So that's how we always look at the games, that we'll try and be better than them and try and win games, and try and score goals and entertain.
You can try and get yourself up for any games. Some games are harder to get up for than others if you're playing a side that aren't perhaps as good as what Eastbourne are going to be tomorrow. So tomorrow's game probably takes care of itself. We know we're up against a massive side, so we're going to be up for it. We want to compete. We want to show that we're as good as them, if not better. Yeah. And also, the threat of getting knocked out is also a way of preparing for the games. John sometimes gets a little bit aggressive and threatens to knock us out if we're not running or tracking our men. So that's always a threat that we don't want to see carried through.
John is very passionate about the game.
OK. I do have to apologise to those viewers that have asked questions. I have no idea how to operate this iPad. So the backroom staff have kindly relit it for me, if that's the right expression, and we'll go on to a couple of those questions now. And the first one is from Jordan Doyle. What are the club trying to do to raise the club's profile within the town and the league, and has it become easier due to our great start this season? Well, obviously one way is through Western Super Television.
Yeah. I think it's success breeds success, and people like to follow a team that's successful, and as you can see, the crowds are beginning to grow. For me as a manager, I think you need a lot of help when the team's struggling, and hopefully that when we have a poor game, the crowd will get behind the team and keep supporting them, and keep supporting them in the right way, because it's really important that through the ups it's easy to support a side, but during the downs, can you carry on that performance and keep supporting people, the team as they should be. But we're really pleased, with everything that's going on. I know the club's trying to raise its profile. It's been difficult. I think they've relied on other streams and other avenues to do that, and I think now they're moving towards new technologies, as we said, with Twitter and
Facebook
and Bebo.
No, that's gone.
Has it gone? I think, right. And I was kidding. And other things. So I think that the profile of the club is getting raised now, and is out there with what we need is younger people as well, you know, to join in and to push the club forward.
Right, okay. Another question then from Ashley Phillips. Can I ask you if you've taken your players on a day out to the new Grand Pier? That's an interesting one, isn't it?
We ran there last year.
Yeah, ran under it.
Yeah, that was fun, wasn't it?
Yeah.
During the winter months, we ran on the beach, did a bit of training on there with crazy Kiwi Shane. Put us through our paces on the beach, which was not very nice.
No.
But no, not been on it, not a team night out there.
I've been out there myself, but not with the team. We do have team bonding evenings, you know, with the rat race tomorrow evening.
Yes.
Is it a rat race or mouse race, should we call it?
Yes.
Yeah. And King Rat Willis will be there.
There's plenty of rats there tomorrow
That's
night.
right.
Actually, I think that's a no on that one. Okay, and the next one is from Dan Frost. Do you think playing two strikers is the reason for our improved run of form?
Have we been playing two strikers?
I think we've been playing... Who do you think we've been playing behind the striker?
Well, Chris Young's been playing behind the striker, hasn't he? Is that what
The
you mean?
Angry Wasp, you mean?
Oh, the Angry Wasp, yeah, Chris Young. Possibly the angriest man that I've ever met in my life. And possibly the oldest 28-year-old you would ever meet. He's just so old.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. Older than me.
Yeah.
And,
And Ben's nickname's Grandad.
yeah, exactly.
Just careful.
So he's been playing behind the striker rather than actually out front. But I think Chris has played that role a bit more advanced perhaps than we have in the past. So it might appear that we're playing an extra man up front. But also the midfielders have been supporting a bit more than perhaps we did last year, apart from me. But most people, So we have still been playing one up front.
I think this year, different to last year, I think the players have got up to the pace of the game. You know, last year I think with our disciplinary record showed that we struggled with the pace and players are making rash challenges because they weren't quite up to the pace. They're now there, and I think the disciplinary record's a lot better. Players are a lot more confident. They realise that they are as good as there's players in this league, and that helps. And the new personnel that we signed here, Chris has added a bit to the side that we wanted. You know, he is a striker, but he's playing in a withdrawn role just behind the main striker. Nat's been playing great up front, hasn't he, on the right hand side, and we've had Kane and Naby and now Ben Cleverley to compete on the left hand side. So and Del Grubb has been is hit form as well, which is great with Grandad playing alongside him. So that attacking force with the back four, back five. We lost Craig Rand at the start of the season, and that was a big hole to fill. But we've had to get on with it. It's allowed others to come from out of Craig's shadows and pick up the gauntlet. And I think they've done that very, very well. And with Jack Martin, he's filled in, and Jamie and Slokes, Martin Slocum. I won't mention the other two.
No, I wouldn't.
No.
Okay, we've got one more question. It's a very pertinent question, actually. It's from Ian Russ. What I like first is great show. Thank you very much. We hope you're enjoying the show. Can Craig rubbish the Bath City rumours?
The Bath City rumours?
Yeah.
Well, they've had a bath or that?
Need one.
Oh, he's got his lucky pants on.
I've heard nothing from Bath. It's lovely to have your name tied with such a big club as Bath City, but I've heard nothing from Bath City. I've got a job here to do. I'm really happy with Weston-super-Mare. I said Paul's a great chairman. I said, and I have the opportunity to work with people like yourself, and the supporters is growing at the club. It's a great club and it's going forward, and we want to be there with that success, because with the age of the team that we've got here as well, it can only be successful over the next 10, 15 years. Okay.
I've probably only got two more questions, both relating to players. Marcus Duharty is out on loan at Mansfield United at the moment. Can you tell the viewers why you've done that? Marcus
got injured in pre-season, so we've had to try. He's gone through rehab. He was going to have an operation. The surgeon decided right at the last moment, when he was virtually on the operating table, not to do the operation. He said that he feels he can go and play and build up the knee again. So that was a bonus really for us. So he's had to go out and get some games. We don't have a reserve team or an under-21 side, so we've had to go out and get in games at another club in the Southern League. So, Mansfield have stepped in and taken him, and that's good on their part to get him gamed and hopefully get him up to speed where we can get him back involved with us, because Mark is an integral part of the first team. Yeah. And we've got a long way to go, you know, and I explain to the players all the time that, you know, it's a long season. If you're not in form now, by the time the end of the season comes, we want players getting into form, you know, and taking the place of others that may have gone out of form or have got injured or fatigued through such a long season. So we need a big squad. You know, Robbie Maggs is out on loan at the moment, another player, you know,
right,
who we rate very highly, you know, and you know, hope to have him back at the club at some time as well, because he's going to be a very good striker.
Okay, and finally then another player, Ben Hunt. What is the status with him now?
Ben's left the club at mutual consent. He's a real good lad, nice boy. Never any problems with us. He just wants to play more frequently than he was at the moment, you know. So he's decided to go and try and apply his trade somewhere else. So we wish him all the best, and hopefully he's successful in what he does. And we move on as a club, you know. It now opens up the door for someone else to come in and pick up the gauntlet and try and, you know, state their claim to be a first team player at Weston.
Okay, fine. Well, that's the end of the programme this evening. I'd like to thank our guests, Craig Laird, manager of the club, and Ben Kirk, our club captain. Thank you for watching Weston Super Television, and I hope that you all come to the ground Woodspring Stadium tomorrow afternoon for the kick-off, 3 o'clock, Eastbourne Borough. Thank you for watching.
Thank you.
Thanks very much, Rich, with your long legs.